welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to be talking about Adventure Island in Southend-on-Sea. So I also just wanted to quickly mention in this intro, I'm filming this on Wednesday the 10th of March, which is of course the day that all the Merlin annual pass holders could pre-book tickets to go and visit the theme park. So I just wanted to quickly add in that I hope you all managed to get tickets for the attractions and theme parks you want to visit. I know I did. I was so glad, so stressed, especially when the website crashed for a bit, but we moved and we got there and I have secured the tickets, and now we just keep our fingers crossed that the parks can reopen when they say they do. But yeah, I just wanted to add that little note in. So Adventure Island in Southend-on-Sea is one of my favourite seaside amusement parks. It's just so much fun. I always have a brilliant day whenever I go, and it's a place very close to my heart, as it was one of the first parks I did when I moved away from just visiting Chesington and Thorpe and the Merlin attraction. So when I really started to get into my hobby of theme parks, this was one of the first places I went to, and so it always has that sentimental value for me, especially with it being about an hour and a half to 2 hours away by the train. If I want to do it in a day, I can do it so easily, and it's just a lovely place to go. So in today's video, I'm going to be ranking the 5 roller coasters they have at the park, obviously very similar to what I've done for many other theme parks now, and I will also be talking about other attractions and things to do at the park that I absolutely love and won't miss when I visit. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. In at number 5 on my ranking of the roller coasters is Kiddie Coaster. Just because this is the smallest coaster doesn't necessarily mean it's the worst, and I definitely don't underrate it or not rate it at all. I think it's really good. Just out of the 5 coasters, it's the one I wouldn't rush to do when I go there. It's definitely one that when I get to going on it, I will go on it, but I prioritise other things in the park before this. This is really fun. It's just a very standard layout. It's actually surprisingly quick for a kiddie coaster, and also my favourite thing is the little jolt at the top of the lift hill when you're disconnecting from the chain to go around the layout. Like, it's just a staple of the attraction in a really weird way. But for a kids coaster, it's great, especially if it was to be a kid's first kind of roller coaster. It's the perfect one. It has a little bit of everything, but it's also not too thrilling. It's just really good fun even for adults, and that is why it's at number 5. Next up at number 4 is Barnstormer. This is next to Kiddie Coaster, or kind of 2 doors away, so like next door but 1 to Kiddie Coaster, and I love it. It's such a cute little coaster. I love the train design. I love the blue and pink track and supports. I think they complement each other really well, and it's again a really whippy little coaster for just a very small layout. It's quite snappy in places, especially when you go around the second time. The first time is still really fast, but I significantly feel and experience a difference in the speed and the actual coaster experience on the second lap. That could just be me, but please do comment down below if you have the same opinion or if you think it's something different about it. I love to interact in the comments with you. And it's just another brilliant step up coaster from the Kiddie Coaster. It's great fun for all the family, and again, it's a coaster that I adore at the park, and I definitely prioritise this over Kiddie Coaster if I had those 2 coasters left, but I only had about 5 minutes left of park time, which is very rare for Adventure Island because we all know how good their opening hours are. and how quiet it is normally and the lack of queues, I would pick this. And that's why it's at number 4. In third place, we have Green Scream. This is a huge step up from Barnstormer. I'd say this is kind of the mid-range coaster. So they have one thrill coaster, probably 2 kind of mid-range coasters, and then 2 not kiddie coasters but lower tier coasters, which would be Kiddie Coaster and Barnstormer, and then the first of the 2 kind of mid-range coasters is Green Scream. I love this. It's so fun. Like, I say that for every ride here, but it is just great fun. It's a 2-lap special, which is quite good, as it's a longer coaster than Barnstormer or Kiddie Coaster. So it's quite rare to get a 2-lap on something like this, but here at Adventure Island you do. And again, with this, it's the same principle as Barnstormer. I feel like the second lap is so much quicker than the first lap, but it's equally as fun, and especially near the back of the train when you really get whipped down the hill and around the corners, it's so much fun, and I cannot wait to get back there in 2021 for another ride. In at number 2 is Mighty Mini Mega. This is probably best known for being the first coaster on top of an amusement arcade, as they then have moved Kiddie Coaster from being on the floor. They've now built an arcade and it is now on top of that building, so that's pretty cool. This was definitely the first one, and when I first visited, this was the only one on top of a building or an amusement arcade, so credit for that. It's such a fun coaster. Again, this is the kind of second middle range coaster at the park after Green Scream, but I prefer this one so much more. I feel it's a little bit more thrilling. The drop is quite steep. There's a really weird, fun, quite like wavy element towards the top of the coaster layout, which is really fun and kind of gives me Wacky Worm, Big Apple vibes, but it's not. And then there's a really good helix as you come into the brakes. The only downside to this coaster is it's a 1-lap special and the brakes literally take you about 20 minutes to get off, so the ride is shorter than the time you spend on the brake run, which is a little bit like Oblivion, but Oblivion's getting better. The only thing to improve this would be to make it a 2-lap special, as it is over far too quickly. I would even sit through the 20-minute breaks again just to get a second lap of this coaster, because it's so fun, it's so good, it's thrilling, it's quick, and there's lots of amazing elements in there as well. Of course, my number 1 coaster at Adventure Island is the amazing Rage. It has the most eye-catching colours for a coaster. The yellow and the purple again really complement each other well. That is something Adventure Island does so well across the whole park, is the colour and the brightness really brings a vibe to it, and everything is really eye-catching, especially at night. It's so pretty when it's all lit up in all these different colours. It's incredible and just really eye-catching park. This is one of my favourite Eurofighters I've done. It is not the best one I have done. I would say that would go to Speed at Oakwood. I love that thing to absolute pieces, but this is significantly better than Soar at Thorpe Park in my opinion. It's smoother, yeah, it's a more compact layout, but it's so much fun because it is not as rough. I love the drop, especially when they used to play the audio at the top, which they haven't done for quite a while now, where just before you go down the drop, as you kind of come to the top of the vertical lift hill, it used to say Rage for superheroes only, and then you just fly down that drop and into the loop, and it was so fun. And it's still a great coaster. I just don't know why they've switched off the audio at the top, as it really added something to the experience for an amusement park. And he obviously is still there to tell you to undo your seatbelts at the end of the ride, and I love that. It's got a little bit of airtime in places, but the inversions are also really smooth, and for me they transition really well from one to the other, and it is a really good coaster for such a compact space, especially with the vertical lift hill as well. Looking out over the sea in the summer is incredible, and I cannot wait to get back to Adventure Island in 2021 to experience Rage again and definitely have loads of laps around on it. With the coasters ranked, it's on to talking about the other attractions I love at this park, and there are honestly so many. Like, when I was making the list and planning out this video, only then did I realise how much I love this park. Like, I've always known I've loved, like, I adore it, but when I actually wrote up what attractions I wanted to speak about in the video, I was like, okay, yeah, you certainly rate this a lot more than you think you do. And the first ride I want to talk about is Spooksville. Well, over the hill to Spooksville, but it's now just commonly known as Spooksville. I love this, but I have to say I'm so disappointed that they got rid of the original over the hill. That was absolutely amazing. I miss everything about that. It was quite dark, and the set pieces and the set design in there was absolutely phenomenal, and the thing that really made it was that fake ending where you came into the station and then all the lights went off and it used to roll back and in and out of the station with loads of amazing effects, and then it shut and it became Spooksville, which is fine. It's going along with their new kind of market and target audience. But a lot of that amazing set piece design has gone and is now just 2D kind of cartoony. Some of the set pieces are still in there, thank the Lord, and they're amazing still. And the cartoon stuff doesn't really look tacky, but from doing the original and then seeing Spooksville, that's the only downfall to the ride. But it's a dark ride and I love it. I love the spooky vibes. The spooky man is still there, only at the beginning, and then for those of you who know me and know my phobia of clowns, the ending terrifies me sometimes, especially if I haven't visited for a while and I'm kind of caught off guard and I'm just kind of sitting there and chilling on the ride, and then the ending happens. I'm a bit like, ugh. But I still love it, and I will still never ever miss out on a ride on Speaksville when I'm at Adventure Island. The next Adventure Island attraction I'm going to talk about is Skydrop. I absolutely love this. This seems to be quite a Marmite ride. You either love it or you hate it. Obviously it's not like your standard drop towers where you're taken to the top and you're held up there for however many seconds and then you're dropped. This is more like the Krusty Krab at Blackpool, but on a larger scale. So it's a lot taller and it's a lot more forceful. Actually, no, that's debatable, but it has got quite a lot of force, and I love the kind of floaty airtime you have when you kind of bounce back down, then they take you to the top and then you bounce back down. Like, I love it. You get some really good floaty airtime. And then towards the end of the cycle, it does hold you at the top. And it's that anticipation again of when it's going to release. And then obviously you hear the air release and you just kind of free fall, bounce around a little bit at the bottom. But again, it's that floaty airtime that is really, really fun, and it makes it a great attraction, especially at night. It's so much fun in the dark. Looking out over Southend, because you face out towards the town, and I just love the feeling and the sensations you get on it. And again, it's one not to miss, especially if you haven't done something like this before, or if you haven't visited Adventure Island before. I definitely recommend giving this a go. Next up is Tidal Wave Blue and Tidal Wave Green. These are some of the funnest dinghy slides I have ever done, but boy oh boy do they get you wet. Please do bear in mind you will probably come off of these absolutely soaked. It is ridiculous, especially the green slide. The blue slide, as you can see in the picture here, is just your standard 2 hills and then you splash down. And the last time I went on this, I got a little bit of airtime on the slide, and it was really like exhilarating, and it's just so much fun. It's not as tall as the likes of Depth Charge at Thorpe Park or Buffalo Falls at Portland's Park, but that does not mean it isn't fun. The green slide, however, is a lot more thrilling than the blue. This is the indoor tunnel slide, and you get absolutely soaked, as half the time you're kind of going up the walls and all the water comes into the boat, as you have to go down the green slide in 2s. The blue you can go as either a 1 or a 2, so it's not too bad. But as a 2 in that green slide, going at quite some speed, you get absolutely soaked. But again, it's so much fun, and I hate missing out on this. The only time I wouldn't go near it is if it was a freezing cold day and it was really windy and it was raining. But in the summer, when the weather's nice, this is the perfect thing, and it's the only water ride at the park. So that's something they definitely lack in, but with the 2 slides they have, they're great fun, and one's definitely not to miss, especially if you love dinghy slides. The next ride is probably my favourite ride at Adventure Island. Rage is probably my favourite coaster, but probably my 3rd favourite ride overall at the park. And my favourite ride is Axis. I love this so much. Like, the thrills and the feelings and the sensations you get on this is just out of this world. Obviously the restraints are quite weird, and you do get a lot of hang time, especially when you're flipping over at the top and it goes quite slow before you swing back the other side. The restraints can be a bit uncomfortable sometimes, especially if you don't like hang time, but for me, I absolutely love the thing. And I think that comes from the initial fear I had of it when I was still kind of getting used to doing flat rides, and I went on it and I was like, what am I doing? And then for the first like 5 seconds I was terrified, and the first 5 seconds you are literally doing nothing. You're just slowly building up the momentum to kind of like hit the high point and then do the full 360 loops. But I fell in love with it as soon as I got over that initial fear. I think I went round about 3 or 4 times that day, and now whenever I visit, it's one I absolutely love to re-ride. And again, it's intense, can be a bit sickly, so again, break it up with maybe going in the arcades, going on the coasters, going out of the park to just have a wander around Southend. As with Adventure Island, once you leave, it's a free admission park anyway, so anyone can kind of walk around, but as long as you have that wristband and you don't take the wristband off, you can go back in and go back on more rides later on in the day. And I literally am missing my Axis fix right now. I need it, and roll on the 2021 season when I can get back there. So for someone who used to have a huge fear of flat rides, it's one thing having Axis as my favourite ride here. It's another thing completely to have Dragon's Claw as my 2nd favourite one, because this thing is crazy. It is so intense, which normally I cannot cope with, but with this style of ride, I love it. It's a bit like Vortex at Thorpe Park, except instead of just swinging, it goes full 360. And again, you get a lot of hang time as it whizzes around upside down quite a bit before it takes you back a bit. You kind of swing, spin a little bit, and then it will take you into spinning upside down again. I love this. I have such a thrill from it. It is so fun. Luckily, they don't run the cycle for too long. It goes on for about 1.5 minutes, which I can cope with perfectly fine. Maybe if they ran it a bit longer, it might be a different story, but I don't think it would change the love I have for this ridiculous thing. It's so much fun. And before Axis was built, this was definitely my favourite ride at the park. I absolutely love it. one not to miss. It's even better as a night ride because it is so disorientating with all the lights flickering around you. But again, it's not a sickly disorientating feeling for me. It's just really exhilarating and really fun. It makes me want to run straight back round, but I decide not to. I go and do something a bit calmer and then I'll run back round. But again, there's so much I can't wait to get back out and do, and definitely some re-rides on Dragon's Claw. The 2021 season is needed. And now I present to you the world's best themed twister, Fairies Fury. Of course this has to make my list. It is such a fun classic fairground ride, but with some incredible theming. It makes it so eye-catching. It really draws your attention in because a lot of them are very plain. Obviously you have like the lights on them as you normally would, but to actually have it themed to that level for just a flat ride that is so generic, it's mind-blowing, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the best twisters I've done as well. It's got quite a lot of force, it's quite quick. Again, the cycle doesn't go on too long, so it doesn't get too much, and I just love looking at it. And it's a really photogenic ride as well because of how incredible that theming is. Like the pharaoh's head on the top of it is huge, and the way it's holding the big like flames, oh my god, I just love it. And the sensations you get on a twister anyway is fab, but I think with the theming and the interaction with the ride ops, it's incredible. As that's something else I haven't mentioned yet, is the interaction you get with the staff at Adventure Island is unlike anything at any other park I've ever been to. They're so friendly, they have you doing funny dances. Obviously before COVID you'd get a high five off of all of them as you were leaving the ride, and I hope that will return once COVID restrictions have died down and once we've got the all clear to kind of go back to some sort of normality. Is that the staff are just so friendly and so lovely, especially on this ride. They get you doing like loads of Egyptian dancing and waving your arms, and I just get into it, as you can tell. And I cannot wait to get back there and get back on Fairies Fury. The next ride I have to mention is Time Machine. I don't vibe with this ride, as you can probably tell by the picture behind me. I look absolutely horrified at the fact I'm going on it, but this was built in-house at Adventure Island, and it is the most bonkers thing I have ever gone on, and I can safely say it is the only ride that has ever made me black out. The forces on there are just so intense and so weird. Thank God the cycle is as short as it is, but how anyone can find this enjoyable, in my opinion, is crazy. If you really like extreme, thrilling, spinny stuff, then definitely take a trip to Adventure Island and check out the monstrosity that is Time Machine. The next ride on my list is the Crooked House. This is one of the funniest things to do. It's definitely one of the best things to do, maybe once you've had some lunch, as it's not a ride, it's not thrilling, it's just a walkthrough, and it's a great way to let your food go down. It's got narrow stairs, wonky corridors, and when you first step in, it does say to kind of take a moment to adjust to the feeling you get. And I would definitely recommend doing that, as when you really get into it, it literally feels like you're walking around extremely drunk in a house. The narrow stairs can sometimes trip even me up, and I've gone around this house God knows how many times now. The last time I went, the staff member on the door dared me to walk around the whole house backwards. And when I first walked in, I did walk backwards, and oh, it was even more disorientating, but it was just a bit of fun, it was a laugh, and I love the little scenes in there with the bears. Those bears are just my favourite things in the world. I just want to cuddle them if they were real. Maybe Adventure Island should do merch as these bears, because trust me, so many people would buy them, me included. But again, back onto the topic of the Cricket House, it's something definitely not to miss. It's so unique, especially in the UK. We don't really have anything like this apart from the Cricket House, so it's definitely worth the 5 or 10 minutes out of your day to go and have a wander round. One of the best experiences and best rides at the park, forget Dragon's Claw, forget Axis, forget Rage, is Adventureville. I adore this. I don't care how weird it is, how zany it is. It is so much fun, and as you can tell, I'm very, very happy to be sat on Adventureville in this photo. This has such a catchy soundtrack, some really weird elements on the ride that I'm not used to. So you go through a trommel tunnel and your ride vehicle tilts a bit. It's got like a really small, like wavy kind of drop like you're at the seaside, and the scenes are just super cute with my bears again. I thought there was a bear in the pictures. I was going, I like that one there, but no, it's just me. Again, it's a red band ride, so it's for really young kids, but trust me, so many adults get so much joy from this, especially the little rave party scene. Like, you go through it in the day, in the night, then they have a party, and then they go back to sleep, and then they wake up, and it's just so cute. I cannot cope with this ride, and if anything, I've missed this ride even more during lockdown, as it is one of those things that just puts a smile on your face, and I think that's what everyone needs right now, is something to smile at or laugh at or enjoy, and Adventureville ticks all of those boxes for me, and I cannot wait for the 2021 season so I can go and have about 50 laps on this while I just rave along to the really catchy soundtrack on my own. Knowing my luck, unless my friends decide to get involved with the rave as well, which hopefully they do, because it's so worth it. The penultimate attraction I am going to talk about is the American Whip. This is such a classic ride and it is so much fun. The actual force you get when you're on the whip and you whip around the corners is so much fun, and surprisingly a lot more forceful and a lot faster than I thought it would be. So this was a really pleasant surprise. I love it. Again, the staff members, they get you clapping along, stamping your feet, waving your arms in the air or shouting something out while you're on the ride. Definitely before COVID. I didn't go on it when I went in 2020, so I'm not sure if it's a similar kind of thing when COVID was around, but hopefully once again when restrictions ease, they'll be able to go back to that kind of stuff, as it really makes a hell of a difference on the rides, and it's just so classic and cute, and I cannot wait to get back on it, because it's been quite a few years since I've done it. Don't think I've done it since 2018, 2019, so it's long overdue. Another ride on the whip. The final attraction I am going to mention, when it comes to Adventure Island, there are so many more I could mention, but I had to whittle it down somewhat. I've still talked about the majority of the park, but hey ho, we move. Is the mini golf. This is so much fun. They have 2 courses, so there's about 9 holes per course, or maybe 7 holes per course, so there's about 14 or 18 holes, and it is just a great way to fill up the afternoon. Again, if you've eaten lunch and you want to kill some time without going on any rides, this is the perfect thing to do. It's about £9 extra on top of your wristband to play both courses, and then I think it's about £5 per course if you just wanted to do the one. So it's definitely worthwhile doing the 2 courses. It's incredibly themed, loads of dinosaurs and rock work and waterfalls, and it's a very picturesque mini golf course as well. And it's so much fun, especially with a group of friends. It's fun if you do it as a two, but definitely in a larger group of friends with the competitiveness is so much fun. And I can't wait to get back there and pose on the golf course doing stupid photos again in 2021. And so that is the end of my Adventure Island video. I do hope you have enjoyed it. Please do give it a like and also leave any comments down below about your opinions with Adventure Island, what your favourite coaster is, what your favourite attraction is. I'd love to interact with you all and have a little conversation about our opinions on Adventure Island. So my next video is also going to be based in Southend, and that is going to be purely the other attractions in the area that you can go and do. Some of them I've done myself and some of them I am yet to go and do as well. So it'll be a nice fun little video with lots of opinions again and lots of things to talk about that I have done and that I haven't done, highlights of the other attractions and things I'm most looking forward to. If you haven't yet already and you are enjoying the content I'm bringing, please do subscribe to the channel. It would mean a hell of a lot to little old me, as I'm loving bringing out the content regularly. Also with lots of interesting plans coming up now, with a few things being booked and planned. So lots of exciting things to come to the channel. Anyway, that is it for today. So until the next video, I have been Lou and I will see you guys very soon.